Voices, where a couple of Midwest women cultivate a community at the D&D table. I'm Caitie.
And I'm Soren. And today we are gonna throw it back to a very familiar type of episode. We're doing a Vibes and Thrives today because it's just necessary sometimes.
I was thinking about this earlier today when I was preparing for our episodes, and I thought very much to myself that Vibes and Thrives is like a short rest.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah, it gives us the opportunity. We do D&D content, and then every once in a while, we need a little short rest to be able to like have like an easy episode that's easy to talk about, that we don't have to think too hard about, and then we'll get back to the regularly scheduled D&D content after the short rest.
Yeah, because this isn't our full-time job. Like
Correct.
This is just,
believe it or not,
this is just for funsies. And if someday it becomes like slightly a job, like that's cool and good. But until then,
probably still do Vibes and Thrives.
Until then, Vibes and Thrives are very helpful and supplementary throughout the schedule. So do you want to go first?
Sure.
Or do you want me to? Okay, you go.
Okay.
Give me a vibe.
Currently, the first vibe I have, my first vibe, it's called PlateUp. It's a video game.
Very good.
It's a multiplayer video game. Well, it can be single player, but it's more fun if it's
not recommended.
And if you aren't familiar with it, you like open a restaurant, and it's a little diner dashy, but you also have to make the food. So you like make a salad, right? You got a salad shop called I Believe in You.
No, you had an ice cream shop called I Believe in You.
No, it was a salad shop.
What?
This is what you were struggling to understand yesterday.
But you sold strawberry salad?
No.
You guys had an ice cream shop too, and I was so confused. No, we didn't.
It's an ice cream. No. Shit. Okay, everybody be
wait.
cool.
For context,
everyone be cool.
You can continue this, but I'm gonna give everybody a little context. I say that I said what I said because I've listened to TJ and Caitie playing it on Discord, because they'll get on a Discord call, play a game, have fun, and I will just like lurk in their game time and hang out. So that is why I'm asking these questions.
We had a salad shop called I Believe in You.
Right.
And in the salad shop, you can have salad, as in just lettuce on a plate. Or you can have salad, which is lettuce and tomato on a plate. Okay? Those are your two salad options. And then throughout the game, it gives you opportunities to make things a little bit more complicated. So you could either take like a general debuff, like you walk slower around customers, things like that, which is one that TJ had to deal with. Or sometimes that complexity comes in the way of like a different dish or an extra dish that you can provide. So maybe it's a more complicated salad where you have to put apples and nuts on the salad as well as tomatoes or something like that.
Okay.
Or it's completely separate. Now you also make ice cream. So we were a salad shop that also served ice cream.
So you did serve ice cream.
But we were not an ice cream shop.
Okay.
We were a salad shop that served ice cream.
But I came into it probably when you had gotten to that point. And so true. I was like, why are you serving ice cream and when your name is I Believe in You?
Sure, yeah. So anyway, you pick like a floor plan. You pick like whatever recipe you're serving. Could be salad, could be coffee, could be pizza. And you have to make those things and take orders and clean up and all of that kind of stuff. So it was a great time. It's a great time. It's fun. And you have to try to last like 15 days. Right.
Yeah. I remember you talking about that.
And the last thing, I think you had gotten off the call by that point, or we're just like not on your microphone. The last thing we did was run a North Pole.
I did hear that
shop.
one. Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
And we made it to 15 days. And there's like an overtime after that where you can keep going. I don't know. We played so like a day of overtime. End? I don't know. I thought like
It's a
at 15
forever
days
game.
it would be like, and you're done. Congratulations, you did it for 15 days. But this one, it was like, congratulations, you made it 15 days. Here's a special bonus. So now all of your tips are 2 coins instead of 1 coin. You know, like you make more money.
Yeah.
Or you could do something else. I forget what the other benefit was.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know if overtime just then gives you benefits rather than debuffs, or like what the idea there is, if it's infinite or if there's only so many days of overtime. I don't know. But we made it to overtime last night, and then I said good night, and TJ also said good night, and then we left. But I enjoy PlateUp. It's great and good and fun.
Question for you about PlateUp. Tell me how, or like compare and contrast how it is different or similar to Overcooked.
I don't know. I've never.
Oh, you haven't played Over? We'll fix that. I really want to yell and say, TJ, do we own Overcooked? I think we own Overcooked. I know we own Moving Out. Either way, we'll show you around.
Okay.
Cool. Are we gonna bounce back and forth? I love that so much. I just wasn't sure if we're just gonna list it all. So I would say my first vibe is that I learned to knit.
Hooray!
I've been doing lots of crafting this last month, so I've like very quietly always wanted to learn to knit. It's just something that's never like been on the front burner. But in the last few weeks, we had some really bad weather, and there was no way we were getting out anywhere. And so we were at Katie's house one night, and I was like, "Hi, do you have knitting needles?"
And I said,
and I know she does.
20.
Yeah. Yeah. So I've been learning to knit, and it's been super fun. I'm working on a scarf right now, and I'm working on a hat. But in general, the vibe I would guess is just crafting in general. And I've been knitting and crocheting. I'm trying to work on a cardigan for my birthday that will have passed by the time this episode comes out.
Birthday!
But yeah, I'm trying to make myself a cardigan because I deserve it. So yeah, that's my first one. That's my first vibe.
That's great. My second one is recital choreography, believe it or not. So I say that because
believe it or not.
Recital choreography is not the pinnacle of artistic achievement as a choreographer.
Sure.
A lot of times, well, I guess this is unique to the studio I work at. We have a very unique recital that has a plot line. It's more like a musical, if you will. There's dialogue, there's a plot line.
Yes.
But the struggle is that it is like a musical, but imagine if a musical had hundreds of people in it.
And no one actually sang.
We do sing once, but only the one time.
Oh,
the
okay.
musical theater class.
Oh, okay.
Right,
Fair. Okay.
But
minimal singing.
That's it. Yeah.
But hundreds of people doing a musical.
Right. And dancing. Lots of dancing.
Is a lot.
So it makes the plot lines, they have to be pretty complex because we got to fit in a lot of different kinds of characters and make sure everybody has their moment. But it's been 1 week
since you looked at me.
No, it's been like a year, right, since my last bit of recital choreography.
Right.
And choreography is always like a thing that stresses me out usually. Because
I don't think I've ever heard you say that before.
I hate it. I hate choreography, actually, legitimately. Because it takes me forever.
Sure. Yeah.
One dance, I average about 4 hours for a dance of choreography. And
do you like have friends that you've compared that with, or
nope, because I'm afraid to know what their answer is.
15 minutes and you're like
it takes a while.
Yeah.
And there's a certain amount of self-assurance that is necessary to choreograph without a collaborator. And there's a lot of preferences when it comes to choreography.
Sure.
You've got choreographers who don't prepare. They just show up to their choreography
Right,
time
and just go for
do
it.
And God be with you. That's not how I work. But then there's also people that like absolutely dislike collaboration. I want to do my vision. I don't
myself
have to
and
worry
then
about
other people like
other
to do it
people.
together.
I am somebody, and I don't think this should shock anybody, but I am somebody that would prefer to work with somebody.
Sure.
I just like, I do not trust my own creative tendencies
Sure.
enough to feel like I have a vision.
I like, and I have minimal like choreography experience because I did it for like my college show choir, and I did it for like some musical stuff, and like when I was teaching I would do it. And more often than not I appreciated, so I can relate, because I appreciated having like a sounding board to collaborate with, because then there were some people that I worked with who had maybe less dance experience than me, so they like just had a different perspective on how something might work. And then vice versa, someone who had more perspective, like more dance experience than me, could be like, that's not gonna work. Yeah. And I appreciate that.
And like, I think the most unbothered choreographer doesn't care what, you know, other people viewing it are going to think. Like, it's not for them. It's for me, the artist, kind of a thing.
Yeah.
That is not how I function. So I'm very concerned about not just the audience watching it and enjoying it, but I'm very concerned about my dancers enjoying it and liking it and wanting to do it.
Do you get any bit of like my colleagues like enjoying it, or
actually no?
Okay,
I don't care about that.
Sure.
That I take that back. I care about my studio owner liking it.
Sure. Yeah.
But like with this particular set of stuff, I teach acro dance, so nobody else teaches my style of dance.
Yes.
So I kind of get to be the expert in it, and if you don't like it, I kind of don't care. Now if I were teaching jazz, that might be different, you know. If I was teaching something
like,
that more people
or if
taught.
You were if you were teaching, God forbid, tap.
Oh my god. Yeah. Right, exactly. So I don't usually like it because I get very stuck. I get very paralyzed in, is this a good choice? Will the parents, from a perspective of being a dance teacher at a studio, will the parents feel like their kids got a year's worth of education? Their money's worth,
sure.
Will the kids enjoy it, or will this be their least favorite dance out of all of the 12 dances they do? And am I benefiting the story? Like, does it fit?
Have you ever asked your studio owner like how she deals with that process, or like what that feels like in her head?
I don't think she thinks like that.
Sure.
I think so. Our studio owner has a million years of experience.
Yeah.
And she's choreographed as a dance teacher. She's choreographed as like a musical choreographer. She's danced professionally, you know, like all of those kinds of things. So I just don't think that that is something she worries about.
Do you feel like there's a self-assurance like within herself enough to be like, if a family doesn't think they got what it's worth, that's their problem? Because 100%. I have enough experience to know that I gave her.
I know what I did, and I know what I did. What I did was quality, and I also know, I think she also has enough experience with choreography to know that her choreography, even on her worst day, is good.
Sure.
You know what I mean? Like, absolutely. Her baseline is good.
Sure.
And I don't think that my choreography is bad.
Yeah.
But I do think the other thing with dance and choreography and even dance teaching, there are going to be some students that vibe with me and some students that don't.
Yep. And that's normal of like all teaching.
Right. And similarly, there are going to be some students that like my choreography and some students that don't.
Yeah.
And that's okay. But as a recovering people pleaser, that is something that I'm like, I want to be everyone everything like to everyone.
We all like it, right?
But back to my vibe.
Yes, sorry.
No, it's great. That's important context to understand why this is a vibe at the moment. For whatever the reason, I have figured out, one, I don't sit and choreograph the whole thing in one sitting anymore. I would used to try to just like take out an afternoon and get it all done.
That sounds like a lot of front loaded like work.
It is, and the idea was that once I started, I could just keep going.
Yep.
I don't have to. I'm not holding myself up. You know what I mean? And then it's off my plate, and then I don't have to do it for the rest of the semester.
Right.
But I've decided that I will start choreographing in 8 count chunks. So whenever I sit down to choreograph, I try to get 8 counts done, and that's it.
And then just pause.
And then that makes it a lot more approachable.
Absolutely. And yeah, that like gives your brain a this is my stopping point.
Yeah.
We'll come back.
Yeah. And it also allows me to like course correct sort of. If I do 8 counts and I see how it fits on the students, then I can come back for that next 8 counts and go, okay, that section was really hard for them to learn, so I need to do something easier for the next 8 counts.
Sure, yeah.
And there's also been more conversation at my studio recently from our studio owner about, hey, this doesn't have to be artistically excellent. This is not your time to become the world's best choreographer.
This is not your time to be like scouted.
Right. Because we've had a handful of teachers, maybe even less than that, who really struggle with choreography.
Sure.
And like kind of don't say anything about it. And then it's April and May and their dances are still undone. Or
because they're just like avoiding it from being like nervous.
It, or they're only doing like a little bit at a time, and like that sort of thing.
Yep.
Or they get it done, but by the time we see it at like all studio rehearsals for recital, it looks really bad because they've made it so complex that it doesn't look clean.
There's like a lack of, would you say there's like a lack of balance in it because they're just trying to jam everything?
And they're also like, there's something about choreographing for your most advanced student.
Sure.
So like, one of the struggles of being a dance teacher choreographer is that my classes are not full of technically excellent students.
Sure.
My classes have a range of skill level. And it's my job as the choreographer, as the teacher, to make sure that everyone looks good, regardless of their skill level.
Right.
And that the advanced students still have the opportunity to show off their like top skills, but the students that are lacking in their skill level or are less confident in their technique don't just get pushed to the back and left to flounder.
Right.
And I think that's a developed skill. Like as a teacher, as a dance teacher choreographer, I had to learn how to make sure that everyone feels included and feels showcased and doesn't feel like they're floundering in choreography.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
And I think that's something that younger teachers or teachers just in general with less experience struggle with. They choreograph for themselves. Like I could do it, so everyone should be able to do it.
That's not how that works.
Or they're choreographing for their most technically excellent student.
Sure.
So this person, Susie, can do it. So once she gets it, like everyone else will just follow suit, and that's just not how it's going to work. And then their dances end up looking a hot mess at recital because the two students who are really good in the front have it fine, but everything behind them is a train wreck. So this year, for whatever the reason, it's been a long enough time since I've choreographed, and I found a relatively okay system for my own brain for how to choreograph, and I'm actually like mildly enjoying it.
So it's kind of like a dual purpose Vibe and Thrive.
A little bit. Yeah, a little bit. Yeah.
That's really exciting though. I hadn't like gotten to talk to you like at length about that. I think you've like bits and pieces talked. That's why we do these though.
Right.
Also to catch up with each other.
Yeah.
That's lovely. I think my next vibe. Oh, which one do I want to do? My next vibe is I'm really, really vibing with just some different music than I normally do. That's not true. I listen to this music all the time, but it hasn't been at the forefront of my playlist recently. Yeah. I'm a really big fan, or I guess I became a fan of this artist Tessa Violet in 2020. She put out a song called Wishful Drinking, and I will I'll talk with TJ and get the link in there for it, because she's an excellent artist. But she has a whole album about her recovery from alcoholism and like getting sober, and she puts like some fun like pop punk and just like, I don't know, I think of it as like glitter. Her music is like glitter to me. But I've just been vibing with her music a lot, specifically her song called Bad Bitch.
Amazing.
She has some really, really fun costuming too, so I love looking up her music videos and stuff. But her song Bad Bitch and then her song Play with Fire, they're both just so good and fun. So highly recommend if you want something. Either, every time I say this sentence I get like polarizing reactions. If you want something to run to, or if you want or if you just want something to like, you know, do the thing. I say run because I get very attracted and very like drawn into songs that potentially have a good running pace. I run every once in a while, and I enjoy the process when it's not like overly challenging. And there's something really satisfying about the repetitive, like following the rhythm. So if you like running, but I also just like having a bop in the car, like when it's very today is a perfect example. Like it's sunny outside today. And like the weather is cool, but not too hot. And I could listen to that kind of music all day.
Sorry, it's sunny?
I mean, it's like sunny, overcast.
Okay.
What was it when you were in your car?
Overcast. Usually if I say it's sunny, it means that the sun is shining. I can see it.
Sun is shining. It's
it's not night, you're right. But the sun is not currently visible. It is obstructed by clouds.
I can see blue sky, and it is bright enough.
It's like a patch of blue sky, and you're right, it is the daytime, so it is bright out.
What's your next vibe?
Okay. My last vibe is I don't know why, but it is. I've been watching The Amazing Race.
I had no idea.
Yeah. Every once in a while,
weird show. How come? What platform is that on?
Hulu.
Okay, yeah.
That was a show that I watched with my mom at one point.
Sure.
Growing up, but not like religiously. And I enjoy a reality TV show contest. I don't like Keeping Up with the Kardashians. I don't like sort of reality TV show.
I get you.
I like contest TV shows.
Like not game show, but reality.
And also game show.
Yes, game show. But like what you're describing is like reality TV mixed with like game show.
Yeah. So I was like looking for something to watch that I also am often in need of media that I don't have to pay attention to.
Yeah.
I just like there is a certain amount of energy that is required for like watching a TV show that I've never seen before that I need to pay attention to know the plot. And I only have time with that. Sometimes.
I can't handle it when people are like, "Oh yeah, I love watching a new show while like doing something or other," and I'm like, "What are you talking about?" Right,
seriously. That's why. I mean, I've watched How I Met Your Mother a lot, just because I watched it once, the one time.
Sure, okay.
And then that's a show now that I can put on. Now it's your white noise show? Yeah, I can put on in the background. Similarly, like Scrubs is one of those. New Girl is one of those.
You should tell TJ that.
Okay. Well,
Scrubs was a big one for him. Hey, bud. New Girl is a big one for me, I would say. Yeah, and Gilmore Girls is for sure.
So I have like a handful of those. But every once in a while, I want one that's like...
There are stakes.
Yeah, and so like I can tune in every once in a while and see what's going on and like be invested, and then I can also like tune out for a while.
My friend, I point that way because Montana's that way.
Oh, okay.
Delaney and Grady live that way.
Sure.
They love Survivor, so they talk about that pretty similarly. Yeah. Like it's Fun.
So I started watching their last season of Amazing Race, which happened during the pandemic. Like the whole thing, like they had to pause the race in the middle of the race because the pandemic happened.
So did they like legitimately like start, pause, everyone like quarantined, and then they came back? No way.
And some of the contestants couldn't come back. So some of the teams that got eliminated prior to pausing got to come back because a couple of the teams couldn't make it work.
That is wild.
Yeah. Yeah.
Can you imagine like being like, oh, I got eliminated. What? I can play again?
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
So I watched that most recently. I also like it because there's a traveling aspect to it.
Absolutely.
And they like give you some like, here's a place you might not have seen before, you know, like that kind of a thing.
That's really cool.
So yeah, and the last people who won are like internet personalities. I'm sure you've seen them before. It's a couple, an
There's
older,
a lot of those on YouTube.
Just hang on, let me give you more descriptions.
Go on.
Their names are Kim and Penn. And they're like a married couple that have kids.
Okay.
And they do a lot of like singing on the internet. He's really tall. He's got gray hair. She's relatively short. She's got blonde hair. She's got real big eyes. I'm going to show it to you after this. I was actually struggled to find them on the internet. So I wonder if they're just on TikTok because I am not.
Oh, sure.
But we can look them up later.
Yeah.
But they ended up winning, and I was really happy about that because I wanted them to win because they seem just like a genuinely very like cool
pair of
people.
Oh, that's cool.
And like this one, similar to Fear Factor. Yeah. Take yourself back to the early 2000s.
Just like strapped.
They do some stuff that's like, this is going to push somebody outside of their comfort zone sort of a thing. So they like bungee jumped off a dam in like Europe. And this Kim and Penn, like Kim was scared of heights. And she like, one of them had to do it. And so she was just like, okay, I'll just do it. And like, she was sitting there, you could kind of see herself kind of like settling with the fact that she was going to jump off this dam. And then like Penn, her husband, was like cheering her on. And you have to jump yourself. Like they don't push you. Like you have to make the choice to jump. And Penn like watched her and was like, oh my God, you're such a badass, as she like goes over. And then it comes back to him and he's like crying. And he was like, I know that was really hard for her to do. And like, I kind of started imagining my life had she not come back up and like all of that kind of stuff. And it just like, it was very good. I don't know. Anyway, so The Amazing Race, I don't know. They're still going. There's like another season happening. That was like season like 32 or something like that. So there's another season that's not on Hulu.
That's
but
wild.
Is on cable television. So,
gosh, that's so neat. That's super cool. What a vibe. Were we gonna roll with it in between our thrives or no?
Between
I
vibes
didn't finish my vibes.
I was gonna ask.
Let me finish my vibes.
Okay.
So my next one is also a show.
Okay.
Since you brought up a show, I had a different option. Then I was like, I'm gonna pair it with a show also.
Okay.
But we've been watching a new anime, and it's on Netflix. It's called Delicious in Dungeon, and it is so weird. And actually, the phrase that my sister, I have a younger sister, the phrase she said, she's like high school age. She looks at my brother because he showed it to her, and she goes, "This is weird." And she's right. It's basically just a like D&D party anime, and it's the way the show starts out is they lose one of their party members, not necessarily to death, but like trapped, essentially. Sure. So the whole like premise is them getting back to this party member, but they lost the party member because they were all hungry. They didn't have enough sleep or didn't have enough food. So like they were basically they just like weren't taking care of themselves. So they couldn't perform at their best.
Sure.
So then the whole show like uses a little bit of that. And the main character is like obsessed with the idea of like dude, what if instead of like just killing monsters, like what if we used them to like survive in the dungeon and get like deeper, further, higher, further, faster, baby. Like, exactly.
Sure.
So they start using monsters as their like food source, and they come up with these absolutely crazy, and like, you know, anime makes food look beautiful.
Right.
So like beautiful dishes, but
Right.
it's all part of the plot, and it's funny and silly and dumb.
Wow.
And a couple of the party members think it's disgusting and like make fun of him the whole time, but the main character is like, no, like this is it. This is how we're gonna get down there. We're gonna get our party member back by eating our way through the dungeon.
Fascinating. That made me actually think, Sam and I, we were struggling to find something to watch because Hulu took a while to get Celebrity Jeopardy back on Hulu. So we were trying to find something else to watch during dinner. And on Netflix, there's a show called Pokemon Concierge. Have you seen this?
Yes! I watched the first episode.
It's so cute.
I know! Have you watched the whole thing yet?
No.
Okay, the first episode, or have you seen any of it?
We've seen a couple episodes.
Okay, I've only watched the first episode, but it's so cute and sweet. It's a little claymation.
And it's like felt. Like these little dudes are
those
felt.
are like, they're felted, but they have opposable, like it's still claymation.
Sure.
But yeah, they're so stinking cute. Highly recommend. It's just like a little cutie, wholesome little Pokemon show.
We were watching the first couple episodes and Sam was like, I don't know, I think this lady needs help. Like, because like her whole premise is that she's like really had a rough month and she's come into this Pokemon resort to try to like get her shit back together, and she just like really struggles for the first 2 episodes to do kind of anything.
Yeah, well, while we were watching that, I'm forgetting the main character's name.
I don't remember.
But throughout the first episode, every interaction she has with the like lady who runs the Pokemon resort. So just for some context and setup, this girl has had a rough run of it and is like getting a new job, and she's going to be a Pokemon concierge, like at this Pokemon resort, right? So she's going for an interview. Every time she meets with the lady who owns the place, she is constantly like overthinking the interaction and like trying to decide like what's the best answer, like how do I do this job perfectly? And I have never seen overthinking so perfectly shown.
Yeah.
In the claymation format.
It is very cute. I also just like I was not I wasn't knee deep in Pokemon growing up.
Yeah.
My gerbil was named Pikachu, but that's about
you
as far
had a gerbil?
Yeah.
I didn't know.
Yeah, I had a gerbil named Pikachu. But that's as far as it went. Like Pikachu was mine. Pikachu was mine, and that's it. That's as far as it got. So I would watch it every once in a while.
Bust out all my cards and be like, well, you see.
Yeah. So this whole thing is me like trying to guess the Pokemon name.
Sure, yeah.
And Sam being like,
no. Okay, wait. I'm gonna ask TJ to pull this.
No, don't make me. Don't make
pull
me
this
say
picture up.
these.
Here, just guess.
I'm gonna do it
guess
wrong. That's Psyduck.
There
I know
you
that
go.
one.
Just proud of you.
That one's Psyduck.
You
That's
don't
it.
have to name these ones.
Great.
It's all the same name though, just so you know.
Okay.
Do you know that one?
No. Do you know that one?
I do. Do you want me to give you a hint?
You can certainly try.
Mud.
Carp. Damn it.
So close. TJ, please, please edit the first half of a Mudkip and then the back end of a Magikarp. Please, right here. It's our unholy
I know this one. I know that's Eevee.
That is Eevee. Oh my gosh, can we do a whole episode of me just pulling up Pokemon and asking you to guess their names?
I tried to say this was Charizard like 3 separate times, and Sam was like, still no. That's not gonna show up. DJ's just gonna have to do it. Tell him what is it?
It's a Dragonair.
Okay, so he'll put it up there.
No, sorry. Oh, I'm stupid.
Uh-oh. Caught on camera. Caught in 4K.
It's a Dragonite.
Yikes.
It's very slightly different, but they're from the same evolutionary line.
Anyway, that's enough of that. Let's roll with it. Someone's trying to out me and my Pokemon knowledge on camera.
I'm not trying to out you. This is super fun.
Okay.
And like, I mean, we could do the reverse. Like we could pick a thing that you're way more knowledgeable about and then embarrass
like
me.
What?
I don't know, Buffy? Buffy stuff?
Sure.
Buffy stuffy?
Okay, this is Would You Rather in D&D, okay? We rolled a 3.
She's like, moving
Moving
on.
I'm so freaking done with this one. Would you rather roll only crits in social situations but never in combat, or vice versa?
Okay, repeating. Would you rather only roll crits in social situations or never roll them in combat?
Nope.
Oh.
One more time. Would you rather roll only crits in social situations but never in combat, or vice versa?
Got it.
I can tell you right now, I don't even have to think about it. I would rather only roll crits in combat because that's cooler. Your fireball just like crits and does so much damage. That's way cooler. You can succeed in social situations but not crit.
I have a history of rolling bad, so like...
Also, can you crit in social situations? I don't think you can crit in ability checks.
Sure you can.
No, I don't think you... Well, I mean, I think you... I mean, yes, you can roll a nat 20, but I don't think it does the same... It doesn't have the same effect as a combat crit where you, like, do extra damage. Like, it doesn't work extra well.
Yeah.
You can still get a crit. It just doesn't do anything extra.
You know what? I should pick combat.
Okay.
But I want to be so good at the social thing.
Uh-huh.
So... the first one.
Doing it to be different. That's great. We're different in this one.
We'll balance each other out naturally in whatever party we're in. So actually, we were talking about this earlier this week. Was it's always fun to have TJ, Caitie, and Soren together in one room because it's always a crapshoot as to who's gonna be like high energy that moment.
It can never be all three.
No, and if it is.
It literally will never be.
It's either 2 or 1. So it's either like Caitie and Soren are both high energy, or Caitie and TJ are both high energy. And the person who is not is just like,
stop it.
Quit.
I don't know that I've seen a situation where I'm not high energy, but you and TJ are. I think I latch on to one of you. One of you is in a high energy. I even made that comment. I said Caitie is the bridge. Yeah. So
Caitie just capitalizes on either of our
depends
energies.
on which one I'm feeling, but I'll either side with the high energy or the low energy.
Yes.
Okay. Back in it.
We're gonna head over to Thriveville.
Come over here. This way.
Come here.
It's time for Thrives. Thank you.
What time is it? It's time for lunch.
My first Thrive is I have made a couple of proposals for consulting clients lately, and I've done them in Canva and like made them look branded and stuff like that. And with
your cute icon, like
I showed my grandpa my like lamp icon, and he was like, "What does that mean?" And I was like, "I don't know. It's a lamp." And he was like, "Okay."
Ideas. I have so many.
Anyway, so I've made a couple of those and sent them off, and I haven't heard anything about either one, but it just like feels like an accomplishment to like have a branded document. Put
it together, and well, for the places you're sending those to, they're like, yeah, like send us proposal. So it just feels exciting.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, that's my first one. You go.
By the time this episode comes out, it will have already come to fruition. But my birthday is this coming week. In the past, but also the future. My birthday is in February, and that's when we recorded this episode. And so I'm turning 30. And now I finally get to sing the song. So cue it up, TJ. Or just please put a picture of Bo Burnham right there. I'm excited. I was talking with my mom or my brother, and I was saying like, I am a perpetual like child up here. So like I don't think I'm ever gonna like feel like, oh, I'm 30, except for maybe joints and muscles. But like, I don't know. I'm excited.
Here's the thing. I want don't give you permission to feel nothing about the birthday. And here's what I mean about that. I want you to be excited. That's not what I'm saying.
Yeah.
But what I am saying is, I feel like every birthday since I turned like 21, the question that people are like, so
how do you feel?
And it's like, I feel the same as yesterday, you absolute jerk.
Buffoon.
Yeah. What do you mean? It's not like you wake up on your birthday and are like, well,
I don't
this
know.
is new.
I don't know. Sam made it seem very different when it happened to him. And then my friend Sarah also said, yeah, the morning you wake up and you just start cracking. I was like, I've been cracking for years. What are you talking about?
That's what I'm saying. No. Okay.
I know what you're saying.
Sam, hi. Welcome. We've never talked about this.
My bones.
I know it just gets worse, but here's the deal. You don't wake up on your 30th birthday and say, well, ow. Like, that's not how that goes. So I've just been getting progressively tighter and more sore after exercise since probably my 25th birthday. So it's just like, it's not a wake up thing. You don't feel different, and you don't have to feel different. There's nothing different about it.
I said this to a couple of my coworkers, but I was talking about my birthday, and then I said, you know what, looking at like both of my parents, I hope that as I get older, I just end up like my dad, because I compare him to a woodland elf.
Mm-hmm.
He's a sprightly man, and has been a little string bean jumping around for most of his life, and he continues to do so even into his like 50s. And I'm like, that is what I hope, is that I just never lose my sense of like wonder and joy and like kid like, you know, excitement about things. And I think that's holding true so far. Yeah. So I'm ultimately excited for
Getting older is nothing anybody should ever feel upset about, in my opinion.
Yeah, and society needs to be not a jerk about it.
Yeah. My dad wrote a note to me when I graduated high school. And that note said something, well, it said a lot of things, but one of the things that it said was like, best days should always be in front, instead of like college being the best or high school being the best.
Absolutely.
And so like, I don't know that I've ever said to my father that that's something that I read in that note and has been carried, ingrained in my brain. But it's just like I think especially after graduating college, my friends and I realized that we're coming up on our 10-year college anniversary.
Oh, that means mine's coming right after yours.
Yeah. And that did, when we said it out loud, we all went, huh. And I am actively trying to fight the urge to be like, time's a ticking. You know what I mean? I just don't want to feel a sense of dread every time a year passes and being like, oh man, now it's 11 years out of college and those were the best times, you know?
Yeah, I guess this could absolutely be like the ADHD talking. So I get very focused on like what is presently happening to me, and I get very like caught up in that. So sometimes that can be a bad thing when I'm trying to like learn from past mistakes or future plan, right? But I think something that it has afforded me is I absolutely relate to and appreciate that sentiment that your dad shared, is like, I don't want to constantly look back at my life and think high school is when I peaked, college is when I peaked. Like, I don't ever want to feel like, or I ever want to tell myself that there was a time that was the best version of me and everything else is downhill. Do you know what I mean?
Right, exactly.
I enjoy life, period.
Right.
And I enjoy where I am now. I enjoy who I'm with right now.
Right.
And that's really what is important at the core of that
and
feeling.
To like an extent in that sentiment, there is no such thing as a peak.
Yeah.
It's always ahead of you. You never reach it.
Yeah.
So there's a little bit of like chasing something that you'll never grab, but it's just like
taking that away from it and like neutralizing it to be it's not I don't know, the peak is not constantly where I'm headed.
Right.
It's just something that will come at
you're always at your peak.
Yeah.
You're always at your peak.
Yeah.
This is a peak. Tomorrow will be the next peak. Like
Yeah.
that kind of a thing. Yeah.
Now we're getting a little complicated because then I said every day is a great day for Barbie, and the next day, and the next day, and the next day. But you're absolutely right. And I'm looking, all that to say, I'm looking forward to 3.0. I remember when, I'm not going to get emotional about this. I remember when my sister was born. This is just like really cool. I was 15 when she was born, and I did the math and I was like, OMG, I'm going to be 32 like when she graduates high school, and I'm getting closer to that. And so it's more crazy to be like, I thought I just thought about that yesterday. And I'm more so like, don't want her to grow up, but also it's really exciting. So it's like weird. It's a weird, it's a complicated feeling. All right, in the comments, tell me if I'm a pretty crier.
What do you think?
Because all of my friends say that I'm a very pretty crier. So if you don't say it, you're mean. But yeah, that's a Thrive.
That is great.
I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, that is good.
Your turn now.
Okay. This is not anywhere near as deep as that. I'm kind of busy.
It doesn't need to be.
I'm kind of busy this month. And that feels good sometimes. It's a little daunting, but also it's like we've got birthday plans next week, and then I'm hanging out for like just a one little friend hangout with Emily for her birthday the next day. Yeah. And I've got like just all kinds of things. We got D&D tonight and meetings tomorrow and just all that kind of stuff. So there's just like there's just stuff happening.
It's a brewing.
And after like having bad weather and all that kind of stuff and not being able to do anything.
It's nice and sunny, right?
Now it is. Look at it. Now you can see the shadows. It's sunny. Yes. But
the weather is turning up, and I think it's affecting everyone in a very
seasonal depression is.
It is so real.
Real.
I am such a huge fan of the front end of winter.
Sure.
And I love it. I love snow. It's great. Mm-hmm. But then when you get about like 3/4 of the way through, like it's just tough and it just drags. And it's like logging into Animal Crossing after not logging in for a while in the winter and realizing, oh, it's still winter. Yeah. And then you log out.
Yeah. Not to hurt your birthday month's feelings.
No, do it.
I think February is probably my least between February and January are my least favorite weather months.
I've gotten that my entire life, so no worries.
Yeah. It's just like it's after Christmas, so it's no longer like fun holiday cold. Yeah. Now it's just cold.
And I would even this was mainly when I was like younger, like middle school, high school age. It was like, it's cold and I don't have a boyfriend or anything. So like it just made it worse.
Yeah.
But then it was my birthday always after Valentine's Day. So I was always like,
yeah. Okay. Do you have another?
I do have another Thrive. Great. This one I'm probably going to have to get all nice and close to the camera to explain a little further. But I made some pretty earrings in my like crafting escapades.
They're very cute.
Thank you. They are inspired by... You're going to hate it.
Is it Genshin? Because I swear to God.
It is. So I'll get closer to the camera to show you.
I don't retract the fact that they're very cute and also cue the
rage. They're super cute.
It's not rage. Listen, it's not rage.
It's exhaustion.
Sure.
Okay, so they are inspired by Genshin. I'm sure TJ will pop a picture up here somewhere, and I'll show Caitie after the episode. But they are inspired by one of my favorite characters. She is one of like you've got lots of different types of characters in Genshin, but there are like categories they fall into. So you've got like the little kid type character, you've got like middle school, high school age character, and then you have like adults. So she's one of like the little kid characters. Her name is Yao Yao. And her whole thing is that she like lives in the mountains with these like magical protector type characters in the lore in the story. And so she like takes care of them, and she's just this little sweet little bean. So like, of course I'm obsessed with her. And she has a little bunny that like goes around with her, and his name is Uruguay, but she has a backpack that carries these little radishes. And so in the game, one of her like skills, she throws out Uruguay, the bunny, and he starts doing like, you know, those like flippy dog toys that will like backflip.
Sure.
He does that, but he throws these at people.
Nice.
And they're little bombs that like go off. But they're super cute. So they're her little radishes, and she's just my favorite. So I had the idea. I had all the crafting supplies I needed to make it. And I was like, I'm going to do this little serotonin craft because it felt so exciting. And sometimes when I lean into that little like ADHD tendency, I have the time and the means, so I just go for it. And that was one of these. Sounds
great. Very cute.
Your turn.
Nope, that's it.
Oh, that's it?
Do you have another one?
I do. Okay. It's like on the smaller end, and I don't have like a lot to say about it other than I'm seeing some growth in my like illustration practice, and that's been really, really fun. I'm currently still in class for a graphic design specialization. I have no idea if I've talked about that on the podcast. I don't feel like I have, but that's something. Graphic design is my passion. But I'm in school for learning that. And on the side, because of that class, it has been like affecting how I approach illustration, how I approach design on the whole. And so like that's been really fun to see the growth there. And it's just been a nice little side thrive in between classes and stuff. And that's all I got.
Hell yeah, Batman.
Well, that's it for us this week. Thanks so much for spending time with us today, and thanks for witnessing my very, very pretty crying. If you didn't know, now you do. I'm a big baby, and and I'm okay with that.
Why'd you say it like a threat?
I'm a big baby. All right.
I could get you with it. Come here.
That's also my favorite phrase. Come here. But anywho, thank you so much for spending time with us today. And also thank you to Noah Trumbull for the use of our theme music. If you want to check out his band, Pearl Parade, we have a link to it in the episode down here. But that link will also keep you posted on everything that he and his band are up to. They just released an album. I think we've been saying that for several episodes now.
If you're enjoying the show, we would love it if you would leave us a review.
Please.
That helps other listeners find us, and it tells people that this is a worthwhile show to listen to. So if you enjoy it, tell other people that you enjoy it so that we have more of you. Okay. Also, you should follow us wherever you listen to podcasts. Also, like and subscribe, hit that bell notification. You know what I mean? Lastly, you can follow us on Facebook and Instagram. We do things there. So do that. Oh, I posted to Instagram like a couple weeks ago, which is like a couple months ago.
So many weeks ago.
But
now.
like every once in a while I might come on there and say that I'm streaming on Twitch.
Yeah.
So you should come hang out and we might start, streaming together sometimes and things like that. So that's another way to interact with us and hang out. And if you're wanting like more immediate like hangout time
we could
with
do
your
some
favorite roses, because I know we're your favorite. You can do that on Twitch. So my like Twitch, is it a username? Yeah,
it'd be your handle.
Caitie, but that's K80_13. So you can also follow me on Twitch, and you'll get notifications when I go live and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So.
And we've had a conversation. I think it was one of the last times you were streaming, actually. We're like, wouldn't it be super fun to like introduce each other to other games?
Yeah.
Maybe it would be super fun. Be a little McElroy Brothers style, like walking me through building a Baldur's Gate character, because I still want to do that.
Sure.
But yeah, I think that could be super fun. And then I think I'm going to wrap up the rest of this today. because please come hang out on streams and stuff, but also we want to just like hear from you, period.
Yeah.
So whether that's commenting on our social post or commenting on this video, we'll try to be in the comments and talk with you guys there too. We love hearing from you all. But if you want to send us an email, you can at chromaroses at gmail.com. That's CHROMAROSC, yes, at gmail.com. And tell us about stuff that you heard in the episode today that came up that I said all of that backwards.
What vibes and thrives did you have?
What vibes and thrives did you have? Also, like if something popped up in the episode that were like, that made you think, oh, that'd be like a great episode, let us know. Follow us on all social platforms. We're usually Chroma Roses or Chromatic Roses. There's usually an underscore in there. It won't be hard to find us. I hope. I promise.
Yeah.
I think this last one is for you.
This has been Chromatic Roses. I'm Caitie.
And I'm Soren. Mommy, those hobbies.
Kay, love you.